So welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm a gorilla in the wrist. Today we're looking at this rather beautiful Vario Empire True GMT on loan to the channel and asking the question, how the bloody hell am I going to be able to give this thing back? Let's find out. And before I get started, a big shout out to Ivan, who owns the Vario brand, who has very kindly loaned this to me for review purposes, along with a couple of straps that we'll do a strap show for. So today we're looking at the Vario Empire True GMT. This is the blue one. You can pick these up for about £559 at the moment. They come on this fascinating strap, metal bracelet, sorry. I'm going to talk about the bracelet a little bit later on when I do the fashion show, but it's pretty good. And this amazing looking dial. Let's just zoom in. I am going to stick the colours up so you can see the available colours. But I think for this watch, the dial is absolutely the star of the show. So let's do the basic dimensions. So what we have is a 38mm dial, so a decent size, not too small, not too saucer-like. It has 20mm lug widths. So again, you're going to have plenty of straps that fit this, although I can't imagine why you take it off this one. It has 46mm lug to lug. So not inconsiderable, but doesn't wear huge on the wrist. Really nice onion crown, I really like that. And the watch is only 11mm thick. This is housing the Miyota 9075 High-Beat Premium GMT movement. Pretty decent. My experience of this one has been pretty good. So let's talk about that dial. So where to start? Let's start on the outside and work our way in, shall we? So there's a minute track all the way around the outside. Coming in from there, there are 6 quadrants with Art Deco numerals 12, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. And if you look closely, they are concentric circle designs in between all of those. I'm not quite sure why 6 quadrants, but it looks fantastic, so I'm not going to comment. Next, we have the GMT hour indicator in a black ring just inside that first quadrant. And then within that black ring is this amazing pattern. Just breathtakingly pretty. It's like looking at the inside of a sunflower. If you ever looked at the way the seeds on a sunflower form up, there is something about this geometric pattern that regularly repeats in nature. The hands, we have very Art Deco style hands, black, no loom at all. The GMT hour hand is, again, short black, and the only hand with any loom. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And the second hand, which stretches all the way out to the minute track on the outside. The finishing is really good as well. So again, I'll come back to the bracelet a little bit later. We have a high polish finish on the bezel and on the top of the lugs. Really nicely done. So from the top, you get quite a shiny look. But side on, the profile is very different. So very heavily brushed. A bit of a high polish sandwich, I guess, because the bottom of the watch is high polished as well. But this watch has drilled lugs. And on the back, we have a sort of geometric, get this right, it's sort of a geometric representation of the Empire State Building. Let's try it that way, might be better. There we go. A sort of geometric shape with a little bit of the spec sheet on the back of it, Singapore design, Japanese made movements, etc. It's hard to find the words to describe just how captivating it is. It's something a bit special. Anyway, let's go and do the detailed specifications. So let's quickly run through the specifications for this one. We have a dial width of 38mm. The lug to lug is a very reasonable 46mm, making it very wearable. Has a lug width of 20mm, which means you'll have plenty of straps for it. Thickness very, very thin at 11. This one contains the premium Miyota 9075 movement. On the bracelet, weighs in at about 105 grams. We have water resistance of 50 metres. I wouldn't take this in the pool. And it's covered by a really nice flat sapphire crystal. So what are my dislikes with this watch? Now, this isn't going to take long, so pay attention. So my first dislike, it's not a dislike, I think it's probably an observation, a slightly negative one, is I'm not sure I really understand the price differential between the True GMT version of the Empire watch and the standard Empire watch. Now, clearly the design and the dial is much more involved on this one, and it does have a premium movement in it. But I'm genuinely just not sure about a price difference of £250 for the movement. Having said that, I don't think that £550 for this watch is a bad price. My gripe is just about the price differential between the two. But I would not hesitate to pay the money for this. It's an astonishing watch. The second part, and my second gripe, I guess, is that occasionally, because of the way those quadrants, the 6 quadrants, are marked out with black markers, there are times when you look at it and the time isn't particularly visible. And it just, at times, it isn't, the visibility isn't great. I mean, clearly it's a sapphire crystal, it's got an anti-reflective coating. But occasionally I'll look at it and have to stop for a second and say, right, stop staring at the pattern and try and read the time properly. And it works fine. And to be honest with you, I don't really care that much. But I think if you're viewing this dispassionately, you would say that the lack of any lume and that the sort of the colour means you do occasionally lose the hands on the face. But that's it in terms of gripes. I don't have many gripes. So let's talk about the things I like. Let's try and do it without me whiffling on for half an hour. Clearly, the first thing that kind of strikes you about this watch is that dial. It's just sumptuous, and I wish I had a really decent macro lens so that you can see just how gorgeous the patterning is. But it's remarkable. The colour, this colour is absolutely beautiful. And on wrist, it has real presence and charisma. Just absolutely amazing. The design, congratulations, Ivan. I always tend to say it about your watches, but I think this one you've absolutely nailed. And the finishing is really good. This would have been very easy to be trapped into shiny watch territory, because front on it is very, very shiny. But actually there's a subtlety to the finishing. The whole finishing and the dial of this watch gives it the presence of a luxury watch. Now, I've never had a Rolex or an Omega on my wrist, but the quality of this is starting to push towards there, which is breathtaking at this price point. The second thing I really like is that this watch comes with a bracelet and a fantastic leather strap in the colour of your choice, and there are plenty to choose from. And we are going to do a strap show so you can see them. But this is really, really nice. So you will have heard me whinge and moan about butterfly clasps, and this has a butterfly clasp. However, it also has half links. And as a consequence of having half links, you can get a decent fit. So this is the first butterfly clasp that I've worn on a watch that doesn't dig into my wrist and doesn't leave me with a sort of medium weight watch flapping about. Because I don't want this to flap about. I want this to fit perfectly. And when you have it on wrist, it looks absolutely seamless. Let me just sling it on wrist so you can see it. Blink and you'll miss the butterfly clasp, to be absolutely honest. It just looks amazing. Right, next up is this rather sensational blue vintage Italian leather strap. High polish, furnishings on it. Really nice stitching, and I think the colour really does work. The contrast between the dark blue and the light blue is really, really good. So next up we have this silver grey watch strap. It's exactly the same watch type, so it has the same fantastic stitching, high finished buckles on it. I think this one provides a bit more of a contrast to the blue, and I just think it works really well. Yeah, this has a very different contrast and sense to it. The stitching, I think, is more subtle on this than on the blue one, but still really high quality. And then finally we have this very sort of dark, almost chocolatey type. Again, it's the same vintage leather strap. This one's mine. But again, just the contrast of the blue against the dark. I'd have to say I do have a hankering towards dark brown straps. I think they just bring out the quality and the just a little bit of extra contrast, really. That works really, really well. So I think for me, out of all of them, the bracelet itself is my favourite. I think that works wonderfully well. I think all the straps are good, but this is the one I like the most. So I'm going to wrap this one up with a fairly quick conclusion. So I started off the question, how the hell am I going to give it back? Because it's on loan, given it's beautiful. And the answer to that question I haven't figured out yet. It's going to be a painful day when I've got to send it on to the next reviewer. So Ivan, if you're watching, no rush with that, mate. This is purely and simply a classical, elegant dress watch. I know it's got GMT functionality, but take my word for it, this is a dress watch. I have worn it with a shirt. It looks wonderful. It's a great wear to work watch. It's only got 50 meters of water resistance, so I wouldn't necessarily go snorkeling in it. But then I don't think you would go snorkeling in a dress watch. But for me, this one is worth every penny of the money that they're asking for it at £550. I know that's not cheap, but you would never tire of looking at that dial. You simply wouldn't. It's absolutely amazing. Ivan, you've done it again, mate. So me, from my perspective, I would absolutely recommend this watch. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you happy to leave feedback on what you think. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. It helps us so much in terms of the watches that we can get to see. And that's it. We are coming into the end of the Olympics. Which is very sad, but Paralympics up next, very exciting. It's a cloudy Saturday afternoon here in the UK. Apparently tomorrow's going to be blisteringly hot. I'll believe it when I see it. But that's it for today. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And look forward to seeing you back very soon. We still have lots of good content to come. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.